nicely the, how is it? The Vrajakanana Bahama Nijakana Kamala Priyanayanam Gunamanjari Gorima Guna Haribasana Vayanam, where he says, in the Kunj, in the spiritual world, it's predominated over by Kamala Manjari, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Nayana Mani Manjari, Srila Saraswati Thakur, likes to sing the glories of Guna Manjari. And here Guru Maharaj shows the beauty of his poetic expression, where he's combined, as Keshava Maharaj noted, the highest ontological expression and the sweetest form of poetic expression. So he takes the word guna and uses 3 times. Guna, meaning the divine internal name of Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Guna, meaning qualities, that Saraswati Thakur was singing the gunas of guna. And guna meaning thread, that each quality is like a spiritually conscious thread being weaving one after another, forms a spiritually conscious tent that's so irresistibly charming that Paribhasana, Krishna wants to live there. So by Saraswati Thakur singing the qualities of Guna Manjari, he's created a Chinmoy tent that Krishna enters, and they've captured Krishna. This is Guru Maharaj's poetry and his capacity expressed in it. So that's Saraswati Thakur. I couldn't find a single Vaishnava. Then it's obvious why he can't find a single Vaishnava. Because what is a Vaishnava to him? Vaishnava K. Who is a Vaishnava? What is a Vaishnava? Right? Only the highest type of devotional expression is acceptable to him. Then, so he's trying to, like Gurudev, like you said, the heart-to-heart transaction, to transmit what's inside him, how to translate that and transmit it to another person. So one man said once, when he's giving a lecture in South India, sometimes speaking Bengali, Hindi, Sanskrit, English, and like, Swamiji, if you will simply talk one language, then we can understand everything. And Saraswati Thakur said, I'm not speaking Bengali, I'm not speaking Hindi, I'm not speaking English, I'm not speaking Sanskrit. He said, what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to translate the upper world to you, to bring it down to this plane and express it to you in whatever language is suited to that purpose I'm employing. Right? As Guru said, Madhvacharya said, like a horse, what are the constraints of language? That, like a horse, if you put the bridle and the reins on a horse, then you can make it go in a direction you want it to. That's what we're doing with language. We're taking these words and we're making them mean something for us. We do that individually and collectively. But Madhvacharya says, if you take the reins away from the horse, take the bridle off the horse, and allow it to move freely, the horse will move according to its own inner necessity and direction. He said, so any word, it has the constraints of local meaning in any language. He said, but if you free it of that, then all these words will run in the direction of Krishna consumption. So we had the good fortune to preach in Russia many years ago. The first time we went there was in 1978, and I got the impression that it was the first time I was hearing Krishna consciousness expressed in the Russian language. So it was fascinating. I would say something and then hear it back in Russian. And I got the impression that each word in the Russian language, by now expressing Krishna conception, was achieving its rightful position. That the word was created to express these things, you could say. And now they were like eager, every word was coming forward to offer it, like, no, use me to talk about Krishna. So as each word in the Russian language was being used to express Krishna consciousness, the whole language was becoming purified. It was becoming extraordinary. Now every part of it was achieving its ultimate function or purpose. So Srila Saraswati Thakur, that was his idea, right? His sometimes mad expression of what his program would be. He said, sometimes in a state of divine madness, like, I'm going to reveal the whole Dham and then decorate everything with gold and jewels, like diamonds and rubies. There'll be temples with diamonds, rubies, the finest marble. And he would get very lost in the madness, the rapture of this type of description. And then some disciple would say, but Prabhupada, how are we going to pay for that? Some like practical person. And he said, oh, don't mind about that. He said, I'm going to take one brick from a Vaikuntha temple. A temple in the Vaikuntha, well, I'll take one brick there, a Chintamani brick. He said, that will be more than sufficient to cover the cost. So you don't worry about finances. When he was contemplating the missionary activities of Gaudiya Math, he told that page of Charitamritam came floating to him. It said what? Bhagavat, Sravan, Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Murti Pratishta, and one other, Mathurabas, residing in the Holy Place. But then he realized, these will be the activities of Gaudiya Math. They were encapsulated in their logo. But Guru Maharaj told me once when I started preaching about him, and I was also a little worried about finances. He said that the Panchatattva appeared to Saraswati Thakur and told him, don't worry about cost. We've got the cost covered. You just preach and everything will be okay. And when I went to America and got the temple for Guru Maharaj, he sent a letter saying, your Guru Maharaj is pleased with you, our Guru Maharaj is pleased with you, like to go ahead and do this. And he said, and if you're sincere to preach Krishna consciousness, he said, then Mahaprabhu will bless you with all of his paraphernalia. Everything necessary for your seva will appear by the grace of Mahaprabhu and the Supreme Lord. So that's the principle on which Srila Gurudev operated. When we come here to his veranda, I see the well, and I think back to this well, and not to be nostalgic in a mundane way, but to make a point. When we came, it was like, that's where you got water.
Still the best water.
Right, and Madhusudan Maharaj can verify it. If you've ever seen him walking around with his orange bubble, which is not saffron from dye, but from the saffron particles in that water. The holy saffron particles there. So, anyway, when someone wanting to do some seva for the math donated a pump, Gurudev was so ecstatic. This was such a improvement. He had a festival, like bought the pump, but also like paid extra. They have a festival that day. There was like food pakoras, like, what are we celebrating? Oh, the mat has a pump. And Guru Maharaj would sit on his veranda when they're making this first Seva Bhavan, became Pashtatya Bhavan, where your offices, and it was for the preachers. And Guru Maharaj, like,